there, I'm Vicki from Aussie Stampers. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today I have another in the best ever box for your cards, and this takes the medium envelopes which measure 14.6 by 11.1 centimetres. These are the crumb cake envelopes, and this is the box that I've put together. There's a whole series of these boxes. If you want to see the C6 box, that was the previous video, so scroll back to that. This will take your medium envelopes. So for the base, you'll need a 10 by 10 inch piece of Blackberry Bliss. And I'm bringing in the envelope punch board, and you're going to punch at the 4 5/8 of an inch mark. And you're going to punch first and then score down. So just scoring with the scoring tool that comes with the board. Now for the next measurement, this goes off the board. So you're going to use a ruler and measure an extra 1 1/4 inches beyond the board. So it's going to give you a total of 6 1/14 or 6 1/4 inches. And you're going to line that up using that ruler. I used a metal ruler, which seems to work best. Punch and score that down. Now you're going to rotate to 90 degrees and line it up with a score line this time and punch and score. So you can see those score lines there. That's what you're lining up with. You don't need to measure here. You're just matching up your score lines. It doesn't go quite to the edge, don't worry about that, we'll fix that in a minute. Rotate 90 degrees and you're going to measure 4 5/8 of an inch again, punch and score just like you did the very first time. And now I'm going to bring in my metal ruler again and slide it across to the 6 1/4 inch mark. And the ruler will show you where that is. It's a bit of eyeballing needed here. Try and get it as exact as you can. And then you're going to punch and score down. Now rotate 90 degrees and you don't need to measure this time. Again, you're just going to line up with the score lines, punch and score. You can see those score lines there. Line it up, punch and score. Now you'll see that you've missed some of the edges of the lines because the paper is a little bit too large for this size, but that's okay. You just join them up with your scoring tool like this. You just put a join into the end of the line there. You don't need to do any punching or measuring. You're just going to join it up anywhere where you've missed the edges of those score lines. Now I'm going to fold it up, and I would recommend you use not this sharp end because it leaves a mark. So I'm switching it around and using the dull side or the rounded side of the scoring tool. It just gives you a better crease line. Fold along all the score lines. And just like the previous best ever box for cards, what makes this really different is that you are going to fold it in upon itself rather than cutting it away. Normally I've seen people cut this little square piece away, but we are going to fold it in and pinch it in with your fingers. Just pinch it in like this. You can see I'm going to go around to each of the 4 corners and just pinch in that piece that's going to form the sides of the box for us. If you've ever made a matchbox, it's a little bit like the inside of the matchbox. You can see how I've folded all those edges in just with my finger, and now I'm going to fold the top down and fold it inwards. And I'm going to go around to the left and do the same again, folding that little piece in, folding the top over and giving it a crease. Fold that little piece in, fold the top over and give it a crease. And again, fold that little piece in, fold the top over and give it a crease. And you can see how that's holding its shape even without any adhesive at all. But what I'm going to do now is measure this part of the box and make a line of the same size as the base. So in this case, it's 4 3/4 inches by 6 inches. You can see how it fits in there perfectly. And then you need to squish your box into shape a little bit. Just squish it so that it's going to form into a perfect shape. These are the medium envelopes that measure 14.6 centimetres by 11.1 centimetres. Now for the lid, you're going to cut a piece just slightly bigger. This is 10 1/8 of an inch square. So you need 12 by 12 inch cardstock to make these boxes of this size. So at 10 1/8 of an inch, you're going to measure to the 4 3/4 inch mark, punch and score. And just like you did the first time, you're going to bring in your ruler, measure an extra 1 3/8 of an inch beyond the scoreboard to total 6 3/8 of an inch. You're going to punch and score. So this is exactly the same as we did for the base to create the lid. You're just using a slightly larger size piece of cardstock. So when you rotate it the 90 degrees, you're just going to line your scoring lines up. You don't need to do any measuring here. Punch and score down. Then you're going to come in and do measuring again at the 4 3/4 inch mark. Punch and score. Bring in that ruler and measure 6 3/8 of an inch. Punch and score down. Now rotate it again. This is where you don't need any measuring. You're just lining it up with those score lines you've created earlier. Punch and score. Don't worry that it doesn't fit all the way down the scoring board, because you're just going to now, with these parts that didn't line up, just pop them back on the board and line them up just with the scoring tool, just to continue that line all the way. You'll see they'll line up just in all the spots where it was missed, because it was slightly larger than the scoring board itself. You can do the same if you're making extra large envelopes with an envelope punch board too. You just come back and add that score line in at the end, finish it off. Now you're good to do some folding. So grab your bone folder and give it a fold. So these boxes, these best ever boxes for cards, are fantastic for general cards that have different sentiments on them, things like happy birthday, get well soon, thank you, congratulations, sympathy cards. And give them as all occasion cards and pop them into this box, and they are a fantastic gift. So you can see I'm just pinching in that edge and lining it up so it's nice and square. And this preps your box ready for the folding. I came up with this idea from the gift box the gift box punch board, because it doesn't use any adhesive at all. And I thought, well, perhaps I could make a box using the envelope punch board and using a similar technique. And this is what I came up with. Just tucking that end piece underneath instead of cutting away that end piece means that your box folds in upon itself. You can see how I'm just folding it over and creating that matchbox type effect. Now the liner is 4 3/4 inches by 6 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to snail this one in this time because it is in the lid and I don't want it to pop out when people open the box. And just press that down, and you can see that this just adheres everything beautifully. If you wanted to, you could adhere the base as well. I found because it had such heavy envelopes in it, it really was going to stay in place anyway. That's how it fits over the base. It's a nice snug fitting lid, but it's not so tight that you can't get in there and open it. Plus there is room, as you can see, to get your fingers in and open the cards that are inside the box as well. Now for some decoration. I'm bringing in some of the Moonlight Designer Series paper stack, and I'm going to trim that off at 5 7/8 of an inch. It's already 4.5 inches wide, so if you were cutting a piece from a different piece of paper, that's the measurement that you would use. And all I'm going to do there is snail that on top. Again, I'm getting the snail right into the corners each time, because these are the weakest point of your card or your box, those corner pieces where you add your layers. So getting the snail right in there and adhering this to the top of your box. And the colours in this Moonlight Designer Series paper are Blackberry Bliss, Whisper White, Sahara Sand and Hello Honey. In this particular piece, that's the colours that we're using. So I'm bringing in some Blackberry Bliss satin ribbon, and I'm going to tie that in a big bow on the top of the box. This is a lovely ribbon to work with. It's nice and soft, and it comes in all of the in colours, the new in colours that we have. Okay, I'll just snip off the ends of that, and I'll come back and I'll play with that ribbon a bit more later. What I want to do now is add an embellishment somewhere on the top of the box. So I'm bringing in some punches and the Tag Talk stamp set, some Hello Honey ink, and I'm going to be using the sentiment with some Hello Honey on Whisper White, and it's the For You. which is on that part of the stamp set there. Ink up your stamp, stamp it onto some Whisper White, and if you're using the label bracket punch or bracket label punch, which is the correct word, you can just punch that out perfectly. And then I'm going to bring in one of the circle punches, and I'm going to use some Blackberry Bliss cardstock with that and punch that out on the slightly larger circle, just like that, and bringing in the 2 3/8 inch scallop circle punch that goes with that circle, and using the Sahara Sand cardstock, punch that out. So there are the 4 colours that are on the designer paper: the Whisper White, Hello Honey, Blackberry Bliss and Sahara Sand, all gorgeously coordinated by Stampin' Up for us. Just add a couple of dimensionals on the back and layer that up onto the circle, and add some dimensionals on the back. I'm just going to put 2 on the back of that and pop that onto the scallop. Just take a little time to line this up so that your scallop is nice and centered there. And then I'm going to pop 3 dimensionals on the back, and this is going to be decorated slightly differently to my first best ever box for cards that I made, which was for the C6 cards. I'm just going to adhere this to the top of the box and let that ribbon slip down and sit on top of it. And I'm just going to go in and fix up that ribbon so that it's sitting exactly the way I want it to sit. And as one final bit of bling on my box, I'm going to bring in some large pearls and pop one of the large pearls on the top there. And that's the box finished. So there will be 2 more sizes of boxes to come. There'll be one for the note cards and envelopes, and there'll also be one for your 3x3 cards. They're coming up in future videos. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, remember to subscribe so that you won't miss those next box sizes that are coming up in the Best Ever Box for Your Cards series. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.